Most powerful figures in the Democratic Party is putting the blame for Tuesday's historic loss on President Biden.
And this is quite a disturbing scene and not something you see too often. We've got a hyena feeding on a hyena.
After Trump's historic win on Tuesday, you could see this coming. The left is now eating their own.
This is in an interview with the New York Times. Listen to Pelosi.
Had the president gotten out sooner, there may have been other candidates in the race. The anticipation was that if the president were to step aside, that there would be an open primary. And as I say, Kamala may have, I think she would have done well in that and been stronger going forward. But we don't know that. That didn't happen. We live with what happened. And because the president endorsed Kamala Harris immediately, that really made it almost impossible to have a primary at that time. If it had been much earlier, it would have been different.
So we were watching lions probably about a kilometer from here, and we suddenly saw the vultures start dropping.
That is Pelosi's view of the race, as she told to CNN contributor Lulu, Garcia, Navaro. It's worth noting that in the fall of 2022, when typically if there was going to be a primary process and one that would have taken shape, Pelosi was arguing this publicly.
You think President Biden should run again?
Yes, I do. I mean, President Biden has been a great president for our country. He has accomplished so much.
How do you think President Biden hears a comment like, if it had been much earlier, it would have been different?
We're here to observe, not to interfere.
Yeah, I'm sure he thinks probably something close to what I think, which is that she's wrong. I don't often think that Nancy Pelosi is wrong, but I do think she's wrong here.
And I know this might be quite disturbing, but this is a predator's life. It's eat or be eaten.
Last we had checked a few weeks ago, Pelosi and Biden still had not spoken since she very clearly was behind the push to get him out of the race. And Jim Clyburn was asked about her comments today. Listen to what he had to say, TW.
I just think finger pointing, the blame shifting, that's not going to do us any good. He's had a tremendous presidency. His record is great. The economy is humming like no other economy in the world. And so everybody can say, well, people didn't feel like it. Maybe they didn't. And the question is, why didn't they? I don't know that Joe Biden is responsible for people's feelings.
I mean, I think it's pretty safe to say people did not feel that way.
A lot of people might consider this quite gross and stuff, but you must remember protein is protein.
Pelosi was critical of what Bernie Sanders had to say, and he kind of previewed this here on Monday night. I talked to him, and he said, regardless of how this election goes, Democrats need to take a good, hard look at how they are conducting themselves and how they're reaching out to voters. And on that, Pelosi was critical. She said, Bernie Sanders has not won, with all due respect, and I have a great deal of respect for him for what he stands for. I don't respect him saying that the Democrat Party has abandoned the working class families.